Chapter 1, Return to Willow Creek. Hannah Miller stared out the window of the bus, watching the familiar landscape of rolling hills and dense forests pass by. It had been 10 years since she left Willow Creek, the small town where she had spent every summer with her grandmother. Now, she was returning to settle her grandmother's estate after her passing. The bus pulled into the tiny station, and Hannah stepped off, taking a deep breath of the crisp, pine-scented air. Memories of her childhood flooded back, running through the fields, fishing in the creek, and the warm, comforting presence of her grandmother. But with those memories came the pain of leaving, and the heartbreak of her first love, Caleb Dawson. As she walked through the town square, she noticed how little had changed. The same quaint shops lined the streets, and the townspeople greeted her with warm smiles and curious glances. She made her way to her grandmother's house, a charming cottage nestled among the whispering pines, now filled with silence and nostalgia. Inside, the house was just as she remembered, with its cozy furniture and the scent of lavender that always seemed to linger. She wandered through the rooms, taking in the familiar sights and sounds, feeling a mix of comfort and sadness. In the living room, she found a stack of letters and a key left for her by her grandmother. The next morning, Hannah decided to visit Whispering Pines Inn, the place where she had spent many happy summers with her grandmother. As she approached the inn, she was surprised to see Caleb Dawson standing on the porch, looking as ruggedly handsome as ever. Her heart skipped a beat, and she felt a rush of emotions, excitement, nervousness, and a lingering sense of hurt. Caleb's eyes lit up when he saw her. "Hannah, it's been a long time," he said, his voice warm and welcoming. "It has," she replied, trying to keep her emotions in check. "I didn't know you were running the inn now. My parents retired a few years ago," Caleb explained. "I took over, and it's been keeping me busy." As they talked, the years melted away, and Hannah felt a familiar spark. Caleb offered to help her settle her grandmother's affairs, and she accepted, grateful for his support. Together, they went through the house, sorting through memories and uncovering secrets. In the attic, they found a trunk filled with old photographs, letters, and mementos. Among them was a diary belonging to Hannah's grandmother, revealing a hidden past that neither of them had known. Intrigued, they began to piece together the story, realizing that there was much more to her grandmother's life than they had ever imagined. As the days passed, Hannah and Caleb grew closer, their old feelings rekindling amidst the memories and mysteries of Whispering Pines. But with the past came unanswered questions and unresolved emotions, setting the stage for a journey of love, discovery, and healing. Chapter 2, The Inn at Whispering Pines. Hannah woke up early the next morning, the sunlight streaming through the lace curtains of her grandmother's bedroom. She stretched and yawned, the events of the previous day swirling in her mind. She had barely slept, her thoughts consumed by the memories of her grandmother and the unexpected encounter with Caleb Dawson. Determined to start her day with purpose, she decided to visit Whispering Pines Inn. The inn held a special place in her heart. It was where she had spent countless summers with her grandmother, helping out and making friends with the guests. The inn was more than just a business, it was a symbol of her happiest memories. As she walked down the familiar path leading to the inn, she admired the beauty of the surrounding landscape. The tall pines whispered in the breeze, and the wildflowers dotted the fields with vibrant colors. The sight filled her with a sense of peace and nostalgia. When she reached the inn, she saw Caleb busy with morning chores. He was carrying a crate of fresh vegetables from the garden, his sleeves rolled up and a smile on his face. Seeing him in his element, she couldn't help but feel a pang of admiration and warmth. "Hannah!" Caleb called out, noticing her approach. "Good morning. I'm glad you came by." "Good morning, Caleb," she replied, smiling. "I couldn't stay away. This place means so much to me." Caleb set down the crate and wiped his hands on his apron. "I know what you mean. The inn has always had a special magic, hasn't it? Come on in, I'll give you a tour. There have been a few changes since you were last here. Hannah followed Caleb inside, her eyes taking in the familiar yet refreshed decor. The inn's rustic charm was still intact, but there were new touches, fresh paint, updated furnishings, and modern amenities that blended seamlessly with the old-world charm. They walked through the cozy common room, where guests were enjoying their breakfast by the fireplace. The smell of freshly baked bread and brewed coffee filled the air, making Hannah's stomach rumble. "This place feels like home," she said, her voice tinged with emotion. Caleb smiled warmly. "That's what I aim for. A home away from home for everyone who visits." As they continued the tour, Caleb showed her the newly renovated guest rooms, each one uniquely decorated with a blend of vintage and contemporary styles. Hannah was impressed by the care and attention to detail that Caleb had put into the inn. "I have to say, you've done an amazing job, Caleb," she said, genuinely impressed. "Your parents must be so proud." "They are," Caleb replied, a hint of pride in his voice. "But it's been a lot of hard work. Running this place isn't easy, but it's worth it. Every day, I feel closer to my roots, to what really matters." After the tour, they settled in the garden for a cup of coffee. The garden was in full bloom, a riot of colors and fragrances that brought back memories of lazy summer afternoons spent reading and chatting with guests. "Hannah, I've been thinking," Caleb began, breaking the comfortable silence. "I know you're here to settle your grandmother's estate, but I could really use some help around the inn. And it might be good for you too, to stay busy and connected." Hannah considered his offer. Working at the inn could be a way to honor her grandmother's memory and reconnect with her past. Plus, it meant spending more time with Caleb, a thought that made her heart flutter. "I'd love to help out, Caleb," she said, smiling. "It feels like the right thing to do." Over the next few days, Hannah threw herself into the work at the inn. She helped with everything from preparing breakfast to tending the garden. The routine and the sense of purpose were a welcome distraction from her grief. As she and Caleb worked side by side, their bond deepened. They shared stories and laughter, their connection growing stronger with each passing day. But amidst the joy and companionship, there were moments of unspoken tension, unresolved feelings from their past that lingered just beneath the surface. Hannah knew that coming back to Willow Creek had opened a door to a new chapter in her life, one filled with love, discovery, and healing. But she also knew that to move forward, she and Caleb would have to confront their past and the secrets that still haunted them. Chapter 3: Secrets Among the Pines. The days at Whispering Pines passed quickly, filled with the comforting rhythm of routine. Hannah and Caleb worked side by side, their old camaraderie effortlessly falling back into place. Yet beneath the surface, both sensed there was more to uncover about each other and the past that connected them. One afternoon, after a particularly busy morning serving guests, Hannah decided to delve deeper into her grandmother's belongings. The attic, dusty and cluttered, held a treasure trove of memories waiting to be unearthed. She was determined to learn more about the woman who had been such a significant part of her life. Caleb joined her, intrigued by the prospect of discovering secrets from the past. As they rummaged through old trunks and boxes, they found photographs, letters, and keepsakes from a bygone era. Among the items, they stumbled upon a small, ornate chest that piqued their curiosity. Inside the chest was a collection of handwritten letters tied with a faded ribbon. The letters, dated from the 1940s, were addressed to Hannah's grandmother, Margaret, from a man named William. As Hannah read the letters aloud, she and Caleb were drawn into a love story that had remained hidden for decades. The letters revealed that William and Margaret had been deeply in love, but their relationship had been fraught with challenges. William had been a soldier stationed overseas during World War II, and the letters detailed their longing and heartache as they were separated by distance and circumstance. The correspondence ended abruptly, leaving Hannah and Caleb with more questions than answers. Intrigued, Hannah continued to search the attic for clues. She found an old diary belonging to her grandmother, its pages yellowed with age. As she read through the entries, she discovered that Margaret had been forced to make a difficult choice, one that had changed the course of her life forever. According to the diary, Margaret had been pregnant with William's child when she received news that he had gone missing in action. Heartbroken and alone, she had decided to raise the child on her own. The diary entries painted a picture of a strong, resilient woman who had faced unimaginable challenges with grace and courage. As Hannah absorbed the revelations about her grandmother's life, she felt a deep connection to her and a newfound respect for the sacrifices she had made. She also felt a renewed sense of purpose, to honor her grandmother's legacy by uncovering the truth and preserving her memory. Caleb, too, was moved by the story. He admired Margaret's strength and determination, qualities he saw reflected in Hannah. As they sat together in the attic, surrounded by the echoes of the past, they felt a sense of closeness that transcended time. But the discovery of the letters and diary also brought up unresolved emotions between Hannah and Caleb. The intensity of their shared experience made them confront their own past, including the reasons why they had drifted apart. They realized that to move forward, they needed to address the lingering feelings and unspoken words between them. That evening, as they sat on the porch of the inn, watching the sun set over the whispering pines, Caleb took Hannah's hand in his. "Hannah, there's something I need to say," he began, his voice filled with emotion. "I never stopped caring about you. Leaving Willow Creek was one of the hardest things I'd ever done, but I thought it was the right thing at the time." Hannah looked into his eyes, her heart aching with a mixture of love and pain. "I know, Caleb. I felt the same way. But being back here, working together, it's made me realize that maybe we weren't meant to say goodbye forever." As they shared their feelings and memories, the weight of the past began to lift. They found solace in each other's arms, knowing that the path ahead would be challenging but filled with the promise of a renewed love. Hannah and Caleb's journey was far from over. With the secrets of the past revealed, they were ready to face the future together, determined to create new memories among the whispering pines and honor the legacy of those who came before them. Chapter 4: A Love Rekindled. The air at Whispering Pines Inn was crisp and filled with the scent of blooming flowers. Spring had fully arrived, and with it, a renewed sense of hope and possibility for Hannah and Caleb. Their days were busy with guests, chores, and the ongoing exploration of Margaret's legacy. But amidst the bustle, their hearts beat in tandem, the connection between them growing stronger with each passing day. One sunny afternoon, after a particularly hectic morning, Caleb suggested they take a break. "Let's go for a walk," he said, a twinkle in his eye. "I have something I want to show you." Intrigued, Hannah agreed. They set off down a familiar path that wound through the forest behind the inn. The towering pines whispered secrets as they walked, the sunlight filtering through the branches in dappled patterns. Hannah felt a sense of peace being with Caleb in this place that held so many memories. After a short hike, they arrived at a secluded clearing by the creek, a spot they had often visited as teenagers. Caleb had prepared a small picnic, complete with a blanket and a basket filled with delicious treats. "I thought we could use a little break," he said, smiling as he spread the blanket on the ground. Hannah's heart swelled with affection. "This is perfect," she said, sitting down and taking in the beauty of their surroundings. The babbling creek, the chirping birds, and the gentle rustling of leaves created a serene backdrop for their moment together. As they shared the picnic, they talked about their favorite memories, laughing over childhood antics and reminiscing about the dreams they had once shared. The conversation flowed effortlessly, the years of separation melting away. After they finished eating, Caleb took Hannah's hand. "Hannah, there's something I've been meaning to tell you," he said, his tone serious. "I've been doing some thinking since you've been back, and I realized that I never truly got over you. You were my first love, and I've missed you every day since you left." Hannah felt her heart skip a beat. She had been feeling the same way, but hadn't dared to hope that Caleb still had feelings for her. "Caleb, I've missed you too," she admitted, her voice trembling with emotion. "Coming back here, working together, it's made me realize how much I still care about you." Caleb's eyes softened, and he moved closer, gently cupping her face in his hands. "Hannah, I don't want to lose you again. Let's not waste any more time. I want to be with you, here, in this place that means so much to both of us." Hannah's eyes filled with tears of happiness. "I want that too, Caleb," she whispered. "I want to build a future together, here at Whispering Pines." Their lips met in a tender kiss, sealing their renewed commitment to each other. The kiss was filled with all the love and longing they had held back for so long, a promise of a future together. As the days turned into weeks, Hannah and Caleb's love blossomed like the flowers in the inn's garden. They worked side by side, their partnership strengthening with each passing day. They found joy in the simple pleasures of life at the inn, cooking meals together, tending to the garden, and sharing quiet moments on the porch. Their relationship wasn't without its challenges. They had to navigate the complexities of their past, address lingering doubts, and communicate openly about their fears and hopes. But with each hurdle, they grew closer, their bond deepening as they faced everything together. One evening, as they sat on the porch watching the sunset, Caleb turned to Hannah. "I've been thinking about expanding the inn," he said. "We could add a few more guest rooms, maybe even a small event space for weddings and parties." "What do you think?" Hannah's eyes lit up with excitement. "That sounds like a wonderful idea, Caleb. We could bring in more guests, share the magic of this place with more people. And it would be a great way to honor my grandmother's legacy." Caleb smiled, pulling her close. "I love the way you think, Hannah. Together, we can make Whispering Pines even more special." With renewed purpose and a shared vision for the future, Hannah and Caleb set out to make their dreams a reality. Their love, once rekindled, burned brightly, illuminating their path forward. They knew that there would be challenges ahead, but with their love and determination, they were ready to face anything together. Chapter 5: Storms and Shadows. The summer days at Whispering Pines Inn were long and filled with sunshine, but as the season progressed, dark clouds began to gather on the horizon, both literally and metaphorically. Hannah and Caleb's relationship, while strong, was about to be tested by unforeseen challenges. One humid afternoon, the sky turned ominously dark, and a fierce storm rolled in, bringing heavy rain and gusty winds. The guests were safely inside, but Hannah and Caleb rushed to secure the property, ensuring that everything was protected from the oncoming tempest. As they worked, Hannah felt a growing unease, not just about the storm outside, but about the shadows from their past that had yet to be fully addressed. She had been having vivid dreams about her grandmother and the mysterious William, and she couldn't shake the feeling that there was still something important left to uncover. After the storm had passed, leaving the inn intact but surrounded by fallen branches and debris, Caleb noticed Hannah's pensive expression. "What's on your mind?" he asked, sitting beside her on the porch as they surveyed the damage. Hannah sighed, feeling the weight of her thoughts. "I've been thinking a lot about my grandmother and William. I feel like there's more to their story that we haven't discovered yet. And there's something else I need to tell you." Caleb's brow furrowed with concern. "What is it, Hannah?" Taking a deep breath, Hannah confessed, "When I left Willow Creek 10 years ago, it wasn't just because of college. I was scared of how deeply I felt for you, and scared of repeating my grandmother's mistakes. I thought leaving was the only way to protect myself." Caleb reached for her hand, his eyes filled with understanding. "I understand, Hannah. I was scared too. But we're here now, and we can face whatever comes our way together." As they talked, the tension between them eased, replaced by a renewed sense of commitment. They decided to continue their investigation into Margaret's past, hoping to find the missing pieces of the puzzle. The next day, they went to the local library to search for any records or clues about William. After hours of digging through old newspapers and archives, they found an article about a young soldier named William who had gone missing in action during World War II. The article mentioned his last known location and hinted at a possible secret mission that had never been fully disclosed. Determined to uncover the truth, Hannah and Caleb reached out to a local historian who specialized in wartime history. The historian, Mrs. Thompson, was an elderly woman with a wealth of knowledge and a passion for uncovering forgotten stories. "I remember hearing about William," Mrs. Thompson said, her eyes twinkling with interest. "There were rumors that he was involved in a covert operation, something top secret. But the details were never made public. I have some old files that might help you." As they sifted through the historian's files, they discovered letters and documents that painted a clearer picture of William's life. It became apparent that he had been part of a mission that went wrong, leading to his disappearance. However, there were hints that he might have survived, living under a new identity to protect himself and those he loved. Hannah felt a surge of determination. "We need to find out what happened to William. If he survived, there's a chance my grandmother knew and kept it a secret all these years." Caleb nodded in agreement. "And if we can find out the truth, it might bring you the closure you need." Their search led them to a small town a few hours away, where they hoped to find someone who could provide more information. As they drove through the rain-soaked countryside, Hannah felt a mixture of excitement and apprehension. She knew that uncovering the truth could bring healing, but it could also open old wounds. Upon arriving in the town, they visited a local veterans organization. An elderly man named Mr. Green, who had served in the same unit as William, agreed to meet with them. His eyes lit up with recognition when they mentioned William's name. "William was a good man," Mr. Green said, his voice filled with emotion. "He did survive, but he had to go into hiding. He was afraid that if he came back, it would put everyone he loved in danger." Hannah and Caleb listened intently as Mr. Green recounted stories of William's bravery and the sacrifices he made. The pieces of the puzzle finally began to fit together, revealing a man who had lived his life in the shadows to protect his loved ones. As they drove back to Whispering Pines, Hannah felt a sense of closure about her grandmother's past. She realized that Margaret's life had been filled with love and sacrifice, and that her own fears were a reflection of that legacy. But she also understood that love was worth fighting for, and that she and Caleb were strong enough to face whatever storms came their way. Back at the inn, they shared their findings with the guests and staff, celebrating the bravery and resilience of the past. The storm had passed, leaving behind a sense of renewal and hope for the future. Hannah and Caleb stood together on the porch, watching the sunset over the Whispering Pines. They knew that there would be more challenges ahead, but they were ready to face them together, their love rekindled and strengthened by the storms and shadows they had overcome. Chapter 6: Forever Among the Pines. The days following their discovery about William and Margaret were filled with a renewed sense of purpose and a deepening bond between Hannah and Caleb. The secrets they had uncovered brought them closer, solidifying their commitment to each other and to preserving the legacy of Whispering Pines Inn. As summer transitioned into autumn, the inn bustled with guests eager to experience the beauty of the changing seasons. Hannah and Caleb worked tirelessly, their partnership seamless and their love growing stronger with each passing day. The inn, once a place of memories and nostalgia, had become a symbol of their shared dreams and future. One crisp autumn morning, Caleb surprised Hannah with a special breakfast in the garden. The table was adorned with fresh flowers and a basket filled with their favorite pastries. As they enjoyed the meal, Caleb reached for Hannah's hand, his eyes filled with love and anticipation. "Hannah, these past few months have been incredible," he began, his voice steady and sincere. "Working together, uncovering the past, and building a future, it's everything I've ever wanted." And I can't imagine doing it with anyone but you. Hannah's heart raced as she sensed what was coming. Caleb stood up, pulling a small velvet box from his pocket. He knelt down on one knee, looking up at her with a smile that melted her heart. Hannah Miller, will you marry me? Will you spend the rest of your life with me, right here, among the whispering pines? Tears filled Hannah's eyes as she nodded, unable to speak. Yes, Caleb, she finally managed to say, her voice choked with emotion. Yes, I will marry you. Caleb slipped the ring onto her finger, and they embraced, their hearts bursting with joy. The guests and staff, who had been discreetly watching from a distance, erupted into cheers and applause, celebrating the couple's engagement. The months that followed were a whirlwind of preparations for their wedding and plans for the inn's expansion. Hannah and Caleb worked together to renovate the property, adding new guest rooms and a beautiful event space that would host weddings, parties, and other special occasions. Their vision for Whispering Pines was coming to life, a perfect blend of tradition and modernity. On a sunny day in late spring, Hannah and Caleb stood together in the garden, surrounded by their closest friends and family. The air was filled with the scent of blooming flowers and the sound of birds singing. The ceremony was simple and heartfelt, reflecting their love and the journey they had shared. As they exchanged vows, Hannah felt a sense of peace and happiness she had never known before. Caleb's words were filled with promise and devotion, and as she looked into his eyes, she knew that they were destined to be together. By the power vested in me, the officiant said with a smile, I now pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss the bride. Caleb leaned in, and their kiss was met with applause and cheers. The celebration that followed was filled with laughter, music, and dancing. The inn's garden, now adorned with twinkling lights and colorful decorations, was the perfect setting for their joyous occasion. As the sun set over Whispering Pines, casting a golden glow on the festivities, Hannah and Caleb took a moment to themselves. They walked hand in hand to the creek, where they had shared so many important moments. This place will always be special to us, Caleb said, pulling Hannah close. It's where our past, present, and future come together. Hannah nodded, her heart full. And it's where we'll create new memories, raise our family, and build our dreams. Forever among the pines. Their future stretched out before them, filled with endless possibilities and the promise of a love that would endure. With the legacy of their ancestors guiding them and their own love lighting the way, Hannah and Caleb knew that they were ready to face whatever came their way. Together, they walked back to the inn, ready to embrace their new life and the adventures that awaited. Whispering Pines was more than just a place, it was the heart of their love story, a testament to the strength and resilience of the human spirit. And as the pines whispered their secrets to the wind, Hannah and Caleb's love story became another cherished tale among the trees, a story of love, courage, and the magic of finding home.